Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're taking a look at additional times the camera lens captured more than we bargained for. And we're starting with some spine-tingling ghost sightings.
That is horrible. Something just like, it was like a footstep right next to me.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 times ghosts were actually caught on camera.
Whoa, what is that?
He's got his hands on her shoulders, and he's watching over her.
I can still hear that voice.
For this list, we'll be looking at photos of mysterious figures that just might be spirits from the great beyond. At least, that's what some believe. Do you think ghosts are real? Number 20. W.T. Stead. British medium Richard Borsnell rose to notoriety with his spirit photographs. While many were considered fraudulent, Borsnell's most famous photo featured William Thomas Stead and a supposed spirit. A newspaper editor and one of the earlier investigative journalists, Stead was also an outspoken spiritualist. Investigating a case, Stead posed for this photo, which he deemed the real deal. Resembling the ghost of Christmas Present, the mounting figure next to Stead was identified as Piet Botha, a Boer soldier who died in the South African War. Although Stead claimed that Botha wasn't known in England, others found articles from several years earlier reporting his death with a photo including. It's also been theorized that the spirit was taken from a photo of Empress Elizabeth of Austria. Number 19. Three's a Crowd. In the early 2000s, a couple of girlfriends had a stranger take their photo in Manila, Republic of the Philippines. An unexpected third party popped up in the pic, however. The transparent figure appears to be grabbing one girl's arm, although neither sensed another presence in their midst. While the figure's body seems to be human, its head looks like a cross between a monkey and a house elf. The photo was taken on a cell phone camera, which explains the low quality. It also might explain the figure, which could be a result of double exposure. However, we like to believe that a lonely ghost was looking for a girl's night out. Number 18. Ghost on the Train Tracks. Complete with a nighttime backdrop, train tracks, and a small phantom-like being, this photo has all the hallmarks of a classic ghost story. Speaking of which, the photo's backstory sounds like something you'd hear around a campfire. According to legend, a school bus stalled on the San Antonio tracks in the 30s or 40s. Suddenly, a train charged into the bus, resulting in the deaths of several children aboard. In one version, the bus driver survived the crash. Overcome with guilt, the driver attempted to take their life by waiting on the tracks for another train, but the ghosts of the children pushed their car to safety. This photo from Andy and Debbie Chesney suggests that the intersection is grounded in tragedy and the supernatural. Number 17. Robert A. Ferguson's brother. Even when a family member dies, it can sometimes feel like they're still looming over your shoulder. This photo takes that notion quite literally. At an LA spiritualist convention, Robert A. Ferguson took to the podium while someone in the crowd snapped his photo on a Polaroid. Ferguson wasn't alone in the picture, as another man resembling his brother Walter materialized beside him. Here's the thing though, Walter died during World War II in 1944. This photo wouldn't be taken until November 16, 1968. We can only assume that this heightened Robert's belief in the supernatural. He'd go on to write the 1977 book, Psychic Telemetry, New Key to Health, Wealth, and Perfect Living. Number 16. Toys R Us Ghost. Growing up, few things were more enthralling than browsing Toys R Us for Transformers, Barbies, and ghosts.
I don't want to grow up, I'm a toy just kid.
At a Sunnyvale, California location, a foreboding figure appeared in the background of this photo, although he apparently wasn't present when it was taken. Some believe that the Sunnyvale store is haunted, with various employees and patrons reporting strange activities. As legend goes, the store was built where the Murphy farm once stood. A preacher named Johnny Johnson fell in love with Murphy's daughter Elizabeth, but she fancied a lawyer. Johnson later died in an accident involving an axe, although his spirit still roams the land, according to psychic Sylvia Brown. Whether or not it's Johnny in the picture, we guess Toys R Us is technically a ghost now. Number 15. Come play with us at the Stanley Hotel. Of course, The Shining would lead to some real-world ghost stories.
Come play with us, Daddy.
The Stanley Hotel in Colorado inspired the Overlook from Stephen King's classic horror novel. Although Oregon's Timberline Lodge was used for exterior shots in the 1980 film adaptation, the 1997 miniseries was shot at the Stanley Hotel.
They regard me as a bit of a bastard. They're right. One has to be a bit to run a hotel such as this.
While taking the hotel's spirit tour, John J. Mosling snapped a photo on his phone. Investigating the photo, John and his wife Jessica noticed a little blonde girl who wasn't present on the tour. Although some believe this is the work of Photoshop, John claims that he isn't the most tech-savvy person. Former FBI agent Ben Hansen also found no clear signs of doctoring, calling it, quote, one of the best photos of possible paranormal evidence he's seen.
Do you like this hotel?
Yeah. I do. I love it.
Number 14. Jason Griffith's grandfather. 2 years after Jason Griffith's grandfather, Alan Price, died, his family continues to feel his presence, or at least a ghostly presence. Jason's uncle moved into the house that Alan and his wife once occupied, claiming that he saw a murky man lurking in the garden. Jason and his fellow amateur ghost hunter, Stephen Richards, dropped by to investigate the bizarre activity.
We might go live in night vision. What was that?
Of all the footage they caught on camera, the highlight was what appears to be a face gazing through the kitchen window. Jason not only noticed a resemblance to his grandfather, but the so-called ghost appeared to be wearing his hat as well. If the ghost is indeed haunted, at least the Griffiths are keeping it in the family. Number 13. Man in Black at Sefton Church. Since churches are spiritual places, it only makes sense that they would get a few ghosts. Constructed in the 12th century, Sefton Church still stands at Merseyside, England. In September 1999, 2 people at the church took this photo, which was published in Brad Steger's Real Ghosts, Restless Spirits, and Haunted Places. Although the 2 don't recall anybody being in their shot, the photo reveals a blurry man wearing black. Given the figure's dark attire, some have speculated that this might be the ghost of a minister. Of course, devils have also been depicted in black get-ups. Whether he's from above or below, the person in this picture definitely looks otherworldly. Number 12. The original photobomber. If you were to just look at one half of this photo, it might seem like a pleasant moment shared between 2 mothers and their children. Zooming out, however, you'll find something straight out of a gothic horror story. Supposedly taken in the 50s, the photo depicts a figure hanging upside down while others gaze unsuspectingly into the camera. The figure almost blends into the background with its shadowy arms and a head that's nothing but a black void, almost like Slender Man's.
Nobody knows why he takes who he takes or why he leaves who he leaves, but the ones he leaves behind are messed up forever.
Where Slender Man wears a dark suit though, this figure is wearing some sort of one-piece long underwear. While that kind of takes away from the creep factor, we still wouldn't want this faceless figure photobombing us. Number 11. Ghosts on the Tulip Staircase.
Just stay there.
The Queen's House in Greenwich, which is now part of the National Maritime Museum, has what might be the first self-supporting spiral staircase in the UK. Known as the Tulip Stairs, these historic steps caught the eye and the camera of Reverend Ralph Hardy in June 1966. Observing the photo, Hardy noticed an eerie figure clinging to the railing.
There's another here.
A seance was held by the staircase, and others tried to capture the supposed spirit on film, but no luck. Hardy's photo appears to be an anomaly, although it's not the only report of supernatural activity at the Queen's house. In any case, this photo is further proof of why the spiral staircase is the most spine-chilling staple of any haunted house. Number 10. The works of William Hope. William Hope was one of the first individuals to specialize in spirit photography, putting together a portfolio of otherworldly images. He even served as the founder and leader of the Crew Circle Spiritualist group. Some of Hope's spirit photos were proven to be fake, and many believed that he was a fraud in general. Even so, Hope would give us some of the most iconic photos in all of ghost hunting. In a photo of Charles Tweedale and his wife, the spirit of her late father can allegedly be seen in the background. A similar photo supposedly reunited Mr. and Mrs. Gibson with their late son. Arguably the most famous photo Hope took was of Mrs. Hortense Leverson as her departed husband loomed over her. Number 9. Terrifying Terrier. Losing a cherished pet is never easy, although it wasn't just the owners who had to bid farewell to this terrier. The bigger dog in this other photo, which was taken a few weeks after the loss, was the terrier's playmate. The terrier's death took a noticeable toll on the big dog, but the pooch's little friend might have been closer than anyone thought. If you look closely at the photo, you can spot what looks like the terrier levitating over the big dog. Was this a photography trick, a similar looking dog, or was the terrier not ready to go to the big fire hydrant in the sky? In any case, the story was fascinating enough to make it into a 1939 issue of Life magazine. Number 8. Geneva King.
Do they miss me in Chicago?
Yes, at least a dozen people send their love.
How gorgeous.
They're absolutely in mourning.
No amount of fire or freshness can challenge what a man will store up in his ghostly heart. That's one of Daisy Buchanan's most memorable quotes in F. Scott Fitzgerald magnum opus, The Great Gatsby. It's widely believed that Daisy was inspired by socialite Geneva King, who was briefly involved with Fitzgerald during their youth. King passed away in 1980, but could the green light still be burning at the end of the dock? This photo taken by Christy Ranieri in 2018 seems to suggest so. Ranieri was outside King's old summer home in Lake Forest, Illinois, when she captured this eerie image. Ranieri believes that the strange face in the photo is King's ghost, noting a haunting resemblance to the late heiress.
See, you were there all along. And every idea, every decision. Of course, if anything is not to your liking, I'll change it.
Number 7. The Brown Lady of Raynham Hall. The only thing more chilling than this photo is its backstory. The ghostly figure is supposedly Lady Dorothy Walpole, the sister of Prime Minister Robert Walpole and the second wife of Charles Townshend. As legend has it, Townshend learned that Dorothy had an affair with nobleman Thomas Wharton prior to their marriage. Holding a fake funeral for her, Townshend locked Dorothy up at Raynham Hall, where she remained until her passing in 1726. While much of that story is based on rumors, this photography is all the proof some spiritualists need. Taken by Captain Hubert C. Provand in 1936, the photo supposedly shows Dorothy's ghost wandering down the stairs of Raynham Hall. She was apparently wearing a brown dress, hence the nickname the Brown Lady. Number 6. Spectre of Newby Church. In 1963, Reverend Kenneth F. Lord snapped this photo inside the Newby Hall Church of Christ the Consoler. The church's beautiful architecture is largely outshined by a dark figure hanging out in the corner. Wearing what appears to be a hooded robe and a white shroud, the ghostly figure came to be known as the Newby Monk, as well as the Spectre of Newby Church. Where some people believe this to be a 9-foot-tall 16th century monk, others claim that it's merely a costumed accomplice standing on a box. It's also been theorized that the figure is a product of double exposure, which is when multiple images are placed over each other to create a single image, although a few photography experts would beg to differ. Number 5. Ellen Hamill. We've all heard the stranger in the backseat urban legend, and this spine-chilling photo only gives you more reason to keep an eye on the rearview mirror. In 1959, Mabel Chinnery took a photo of her husband in the driver's seat of their car. Chinnery's mother, Ellen Hamill, can supposedly be seen in the back seat. The thing is, Mrs. Hamill had died a week earlier, and the photo was taken shortly after visiting her grave. What's more, Chinnery's mother liked to sit in the exact spot whenever Mr. Chinnery drove her around. Again, double exposure might be the obvious explanation for this alleged hitchhiking ghost. However, at least one photo expert believed it was genuine, according to Parade magazine, which published the story. Number 4. Freddie Jackson. At first glance, this photo of a Royal Air Force squadron might not seem like anything out of the ordinary. It stands out for 2 reasons, though. First, it was taken by Sir Victor Goddard, who fought in both World Wars. Second, you can allegedly see the ghost of air mechanic Freddie Jackson in the background. 2 days before the photo was taken in 1919, Jackson tragically died in an airplane propeller accident. Those who knew Freddie couldn't help but notice his resemblance to the ghostly face in the photo. Some like to think that Jackson was unaware of his passing and thus joined in the group pic. The photo was later published in 1975, and the exact nature behind it continues to baffle. Number 3. Lord Combermere. In 1891, the 2nd Viscount Combermere was laid to rest. If this photo is any indication, however, Lord Combermere might have been absent from his own funeral. Shortly before the funeral, Lord Combermere's sister-in-law, Sybil Corbet, arranged a camera at the Abbey Library and took an hour-long exposure. Combermere Abbey was 4 miles away from St. Margaret's Church where the funeral was being held. When the photo was developed, an apparition resembling Lord Combermere was found sitting in his favorite chair. The most logical explanation is that one of the staff members stayed behind and sat in the chair, although they were all apparently at the funeral. Perhaps Lord Combermere was taking a brief rest before moving on to the great beyond. Number 2. The Amityville Ghost. Ronald DeFeo Jr. was infamously responsible for the deaths of 6 family members in 1974. 13 months after the murders took place, the DeFeo house was purchased by the Lutz family, who left after 28 days due to alleged paranormal activity.
Forgive our sins,
peace to this house and all
save
who
us
live
from all illness. Grant this through Jesus Christ our Lord.
This would all provide the basis for the Amityville horror books and films. But is the house truly haunted? Who better to find out than Ed and Lorraine Warren, 2 names you'll recognize from the Conjuring movies. Investigating the house a few weeks after the Lutz family departed, the Warrens walked away with a photo of a bright-eyed little boy. There were apparently no children in the house, leading some to believe that this was the ghost of 9-year-old John Matthew DeFeo, Ronald's brother. Number 1. Abraham Lincoln. Before there was William Hope, there was William H. Mumler, widely considered the first spirit photographer. Although many believed Mumler to be a fraud, this photo would forever engrave his name in the paranormal history books.
She came back to pick up her print, and lo and behold, there was Abraham Lincoln standing behind her. He's got his hands on her shoulders.
Mumler's subject is Mary Todd Lincoln, and the ghostly figure putting his hand on her shoulders is allegedly President Abraham Lincoln, who was, of course, assassinated in 1865. It's been said that this photo was taken in 1869, and Mumler didn't know until after it developed that Mrs. Lincoln had been in his presence. Another account claims that Mumler took it in the 1870s, and Mrs. Lincoln approached him under a pseudonym. As for the photo's legitimacy, maybe it's fake, but only Honest Abe himself would know for sure.
At all rates, whatever may be proven by blood and sacrifice must have been proved by now.
Sometimes the creepiest creatures lurk where you least expect them, like underwater. Why, just take a look at what these cameras captured.
The broad ribbon-like arms don't have stings, and no one knows just how they're used to catch prey.
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 creepiest things caught on underwater cameras.
The story behind these stones still eludes me, but there's one more major clue that could crack the case.
For this list, we'll be looking at the eeriest and most unsettling visuals that have been recorded in oceans and lakes. Which of these creeps you out the most? Number 10. Mystery Creature. The ocean really gets the imagination going, and it is home to some terrifying creatures. This footage, captured back in 2017 by an exploratory vehicle, shows the remains of a long-dead creature 2,700 feet down on the bottom of the Mediterranean Sea. The skeleton mostly consists of what looks like a giant spine. It's alleged online that the spine was 98 feet long, although we can't vouch for that. The identity of the creature is unknown, with some suggesting it's a hammerhead shark, a whale, or an ancient, long-extinct creature. Whatever it is, it creeps us out. Number 9. Barrel Eye. It's amazing what types of creatures we find underwater. A prime example is the barrel eye, or spookfish, easily one of the weirdest fish out there. Its head is completely transparent, allowing you to see its tubular eyeballs. The idea of a see-through fish head seems like the stuff of science fiction, not of our own Earth. Yet here it is.
Typically, Macropinus sits quietly in the water, using its big fins for stability, while it scans the water above for food.
The transparent head helps with the barrel eye's vision and allows it to see prey in the dark depths of the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans in which it dwells. Fascinating? Yes. The stuff of nightmares? You bet.
The fish discovered alive by the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute is the first specimen of its kind to be found with its soft, transparent dome intact.
Number 8. Underwater crop circles. Turns out the aliens aren't just drawing in our cornfields, they're hitting the bottom of our oceans as well. First discovered off the coast of Japan in the mid-90s, these underwater crop circles consist of very elaborate designs.
They're like crop circles, I guess. They're patterns in the sand, and we knew exactly what they were as soon as we sighted them.
It's a very creepy sight, conjuring images of lost underwater civilizations or some type of intelligent monster. But it's not aliens, it's not a lost civilization, and it's not a monster. These circles are actually made by male pufferfish who are hoping to attract a lady pufferfish. Yes, they're still creepy, but there's a certain humor in discovering that these crop circles are actually just part of a fish mating ritual. Number 7. Sea spiders. Spiders are scary enough, never mind underwater spiders. The last thing we want while scuba diving is having a creepy crawly scuttling across our masks. Sea spiders are horrifying little buggers found in various oceans around the world. While most are quite small, some deep water species have legs that measure over 2 feet long.
Most places in the world, they're almost invisible. They're very cryptic, they're hidden away, and you have to work really hard to find them.
And you thought tarantulas were nasty. Watching these spiders in action elicits a certain visceral reaction, especially the ones with long, spindly legs. We just can't help but shudder in response.
Their 8 long legs help carry vital organs, like their digestive tract.
Number 6. Train graveyard. It's inherently creepy finding above-ground items buried deep underwater. It elicits a fear response, as we know that it's not supposed to be there.
The cab where the engineer would stand was made of wood and most likely consumed long ago by marine-boring organisms such as the teredo worm.
Case in point, the underwater train graveyard of New Jersey. Found under 90 feet of water off the shore of Long Branch are 2 trains dating back to the 1850s. To make matters even creepier, there is no historical record of these trains having existed. Explorers believe that the trains were being transported across the Atlantic when they were lost in a nasty storm. They remained lost for well over 100 years before they were discovered in 1985.
The smokestacks on both are gone. Made of thin sheet metal, they most likely rusted away or were ripped off by fishermen's nets.
Number 5. Underwater Stonehenge. Back in the mid-2000s, archaeologists made a startling discovery in Lake Michigan's Grand Traverse Bay.
But the origin of these stones in Lake Michigan is less obvious.
While searching for shipwrecks, the experts found some type of underwater stone structure that is likely of human origin. While the structure has been compared to Stonehenge, it's not a circular formation like the iconic European landmark. Rather, it's a long line of boulders, which Dr. John O'Shea of the University of Michigan believes was used for herding caribou in prehistoric times.
We were fortunate to find some hunting structures which are stone alignments that would have channeled caribou to kill areas.
One rock is of particular interest to archaeologists as it contains what might be a carving of a mastodon. Whatever it is, it's a little unsettling to see a mile-long line of rocks under the water.
Under Lake Michigan, there's a long line of rocks leading directly to our hexagon.
Number 4. Massive jellyfish. Sea monsters may not exist as they do in film and literature, but this will do just as well. This footage was taken by a remotely operated video camera at a deep-sea oil rig off the coast of Britain and depicts what can only be described as an enormous blob of flesh. Suffice to say, this is the stuff of nightmares. Heck, even fictional sea monsters aren't as scary as this. After the footage made its rounds through the internet and creeped a lot of people out, it was identified as a massive jellyfish called Dipstaria reticulum. We don't care what it's called. We don't want any part of it.
Few people have ever seen this spectacular creature alive, so we know very little about it.
Number 3. A human skeleton. Finding a human skeleton at the bottom of the ocean has to be up there in terms of nightmarish scenarios. Discovered back in 1900, the Antikythera shipwreck provided some astounding archaeological material, including the famous Antikythera mechanism, which is considered the world's oldest analog computer. Researchers were at the site in 2016 when they found a human skeleton.
The bodies of shipwreck victims are usually swept away by ocean currents or eaten by fish, so this is an exciting find for archaeologists.
Various body parts are easily distinguished among the bones, including the man's jaw, legs, and ribs. Experts believe that he went down with the ship, and they hope that DNA testing on the bones will shed further light on the historic shipwreck.
This will push the boundaries of ancient DNA analysis. If it works, we could learn about his hair and eye colour, diseases he might have inherited, and perhaps where he came from.
Number 2. The big fin squid. When it comes to scary sea monsters, absolutely nothing beats the big fin squid. In 2007, the Shell Oil Company captured an amazing bit of footage in the Gulf of Mexico. Shot by a remotely operated underwater vehicle, the footage depicts a stationary creature with long, thin tentacles dangling from its body. It looks like some type of Lovecraftian monster, and the horrifying video quickly went viral. It's easy to see why. The dark setting, the long tentacles, and the creepy way the animal just sits there all combines to create an unforgettable image. This creature is the rarely seen big fin squid, whose tentacles can measure up to 26 feet long. That's a big no thanks from us. Number 1. Garbage. Perhaps the scariest thing we've found out on the open ocean are patches of garbage floating on the surface like a film of oil, or sinking to the bottom to remain there for thousands of years.
The ocean cleanup showed off their latest catch of over 9,000 kilograms of plastic waste, collected in a single haul, dumping it out in dramatic fashion for all the world to see.
Countless videos and photographs have captured the garbage that litters the world's waterways, seemingly from some dystopian future. Actually, our present.
8 million metric tons of plastic trash enters the sea from land every year.
It's believed that by 2050, there could be more plastic than fish in the sea by weight. Of course, there's also a lot of microplastics that are invisible to the eye. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch alone covers an estimated 620,000 square miles and consists of 50 to 142 tons of plastic. That's pretty terrifying when you think about it.
Debris which is floating on the ocean surface becomes colonized with barnacles, mussels, all sorts of different organisms. And then it becomes heavier and heavier, and at a certain point it then starts to sink.
Our next video is going to take you inside some of the wildest moments ever captured on camera at Walmart. Things are about to get crazy.
She's just gonna cuss you up and down.
Well, you should be used to that.
I'm used to lots of things. I work at Walmart.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 crazy incidents caught on camera in Walmart.
I've done a lot of weddings in 45 years, but this is my first time being at a Walmart.
For this list, we'll be looking at the wildest, strangest, and most unpredictable moments caught on film in the big box store. What's the weirdest thing you've seen when you've gone out shopping? Number 10. Quitting on camera. If you've ever worked retail or for an awful boss, you've probably fantasized about quitting in a dramatic fashion.
Attention, all Walmart shoppers.
Well, Shauna Blackwell, who worked as a night stalker at a store in Lubbock, Texas, took matters into her own hands and quit her job over the store's intercom system in October 2020.
F***ing quit. I'm out.
Not only did she quit, but she called out the disgusting behavior of fellow employees, managers, and the company as a whole.
We're all perverts. And I hope you don't talk to your daughters the way you talk to me.
Blackwell recorded her resignation and posted it on social media, where it went viral. In a later interview with Mother Jones, Blackwell pointed out the unfairly low pay she received in one of the store's most physically demanding positions. You go, girl.
I just want to come on here and say is a racist, stinky.
Number 9. Mask meltdown. While we saw plenty of kindness and empathy during the COVID-19 pandemic, we unfortunately also saw quite a bit of disregard for other people's health and safety.
You've not established authority to tell me to leave. You go get management.
In August 2020, many stores had masking requirements in place for both employees and customers, including this Walmart in Anchorage, Alaska.
You can refuse service. Are you refusing my service?
Yes.
Why don't you say we refuse your service?
However, this particular person thought he was above the rules and attempted to enter the store with a naked face.
Turn to your service of Satan in your ignorant belief that you are right.
When he was asked to mask up or leave, the man had a massive meltdown, complete with vulgar language, rude hand gestures, and nonsensical ramblings.
You have no authority over me. Quit speaking all over people.
We really hope the employees who had to deal with this situation got a raise afterward.
Oh, I know.
Number 8. Fire Aisle 5. We've heard of fire sales, but this is taking it a little too far.
Oh my God.
In November 2017, during the wee hours of the morning, when the weirdest things tend to happen, the graveyard shift shoppers in a Cedar Park, Texas store were shocked to see smoke.
How did this happen?
That's exactly what investigators are trying to figure out.
2 separate fires were set ablaze in the store, one in the jewelry and apparel area, and one in the vacuum aisle, and both apparently the result of arson. Thankfully, the Walmart sprinkler system put out most of the flames, and the quick-thinking employees evacuated the store, ensuring no one was injured by the fires.
30 seconds in, I was like, I shot the video and then I was out. I did not want to stay in there.
Number 7. Garden Center Wedding. Wedding venues can be deeply personal for couples who choose to tie the knot. And for some people, apparently that deeply personal venue is Walmart.
Today will be Ella Glass and Caleb Cox. Wedding is taking place here at Walmart.
In 2007, the chain had a contest to choose 7 couples who could have their weddings in their local store's garden centers completely free of charge on the popular July 7th date. One lucky couple, Ella Glass and Caleb Cox, captured their special day on camera, showing their beautiful ceremony with their loved ones.
I, Caleb, take the Ella to be my husband, to have and to hold.
The unusual setting was charming and as idyllic as a Walmart can be, and Ella and Caleb are an absolutely adorable couple. Mazel tov! Number 6. Ghosts.
And the pressure just got thicker. Damn.
Few things are spookier than a completely empty Walmart in the middle of the night. But this seemingly sentient balloon making its way through the store definitely amps up the creepiness. If you saw this as you were picking up some midnight cereal, would you use scissors or a Ouija board to stop it? Although this video was revealed to be a fake, it does shine light on other apparently haunted stores, such as a location in Galveston, Texas, that is built on the former site of an orphanage.
And the legend goes, mixed with pure fact, there was an orphanage. Okay, it just went off. That is awesome.
When the orphanage was destroyed by a hurricane in 1900, more than 100 people perished. But they are said to still linger in the aisles of this particular store.
You tell me what that is. You tell me that's not paranormal, people.
Number 5. Shampoo Aisle Fight. This isn't the largest brawl we'll cover on our list, but it's definitely the slipperiest. In 2015, at a Walmart located in Beech Grove, Indiana, 2 women got downright dirty in the hygiene department. Apparently, the brawl started when one of the customers complained to an associate about the shampoo aisle's layout, prompting another customer to step in. During the fight, one of the women asked her young son to also attack the other woman, which he did.
I think that, she should have to go through some sort of parenting classes or something. You cannot engage your child into criminal activity, especially at a young age.
Police were called to step in after quite a while, and the mother who asked her young son to step in was charged with child neglect, among other charges. Number 4. Moving through the dairy section. This particular incident is what math word problems are made of.
You take the head, I'm taking the back. What's the plan, Wes? Forget the plan.
In April 2011, a Walmart in Virginia likely saw the most bizarre crime it has ever experienced.
An utterly unbelievable crime that will move you to tears of laughter.
A man clad in a cow suit somehow managed to snag 26 gallons of milk at once.
Duquois and I will merge with the herd here and sneak in through the gate in the electrified fence.
As if that weren't strange enough, he then crawled out of the store on all fours in an attempt to mimic cattle and then handed out the stolen milk to people outside of the Walmart.
We decided to go in the store and steal 26 gallons of milk. That's $92. You can't do that.
The bovine Robin Hood initially managed to escape, but local police later caught him, not still wearing his cow suit, at a McDonald's, and he was charged with shoplifting. Number 3. Firework blaze. What's crazier than arson in a Walmart? Arson in a Walmart that sets off fireworks inside the store.
No worse than awesome. It's worse.
In June 2016, a Phoenix, Arizona location had an early and terrifying Independence Day surprise thanks to a man who set a fireworks display in the store ablaze. Of course, the fireworks did what fireworks do, and well, you can imagine how that went. Although the store was evacuated and all the customers and employees thankfully escaped harm, the incident caused millions of dollars of damage. Phoenix police tracked down the suspect 3 months later, and he was charged with arson.
Nice touch setting off the fireworks.
You seem to really know your explosives.
Number 2. Horsing around. If you've paid close attention so far, you might have noticed that Texas has made more appearances on this list than any other state. Of course, this particular incident pretty much encapsulates the Lone Star State, saddle and all.
Low prices, baby. We are low prices.
In March 2017, 2 men moseyed into a Houston, Texas Walmart on horseback to get a candy bar. Apparently, no one stopped the men and their very tall friends from entering the store, so they clopped their ways down the aisles.
Facebook.
Although the horses were very well behaved during the trip, one did relieve itself on the floor of the store. Whoever had to clean that up definitely deserves a raise.
I don't get paid enough for this.
Number 1. Black Friday Brawl. Of course, no list about insane occurrences at the ultimate big box chain would be complete without a Black Friday incident.
I hate Black Friday.
While fights on the day after giving thanks seem to be an annual thing, this particular punch fest took place in 2014. And of course, it was in Texas.
Hey!
Apparently, their deal on televisions was to die for as customers wrestled each other to the floor in an attempt to get in on the sale. We don't care how good the deal is. There is no excuse for getting so worked up over a sale that police officers have to get involved.
TGIF, right guys?
If that last video didn't leave you speechless, I'm pretty sure this next one will. That's because it's about all the times shocking crimes were caught on camera.
And on Sunday, those cameras caught crooks in the act.
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we'll be looking at the most brazen criminal acts that were documented in real time on surveillance cameras.
After talking with police about a missing girl in the area, car wash owner Mike Evanoff looks at tape from his surveillance camera.
A foiled bank robbery. In April 2016, 2 would-be robbers paid a visit to a Banco do Brasil branch in Praia Grande, Brazil. Their choice of disguise was far from ordinary. Instead of the typical balaclava with eye and mouth cutoffs, these suspects opted for shiny head-to-toe foil suits.
Police in the city of Santa Catarina say the suspects were most likely trying to move around the bank undetected by its alarm system.
The intention behind these outfits was to outsmart the bank's alarm system, which surprisingly didn't detect them. However, their metallic cloaks failed to grant them invisibility as the bank's surveillance cameras recorded their every move.
Police officers rushed to the bank when the robbers were seen through a CCTV monitoring system.
Security staff noticed the criminals on the tape and swiftly called the authorities. Although the 2 managed to escape before police arrived, their efforts to break the bank's safe appeared to have been in vain.
Police say they left empty-handed.
Abduction of Carlisha Freeland Gaither. On a quiet Sunday night in November 2014, Carlisha Freeland Gaither was walking down a nearly desolate Philadelphia street when she was suddenly grabbed by Delvin Barnes.
22-year-old Carlisha Freeland Gaither survived this vicious abduction and nearly 72 hours with her captor.
Security cameras had recorded Barnes' car pulling up just moments before the kidnapping. In the harrowing footage, Freeland Gaither puts up a fight as she screams, kicks, and even smashes the car windows in a desperate bid to escape. Despite her efforts, she's ultimately forced in and driven away.
The nursing assistant was just blocks from home when she was snatched Sunday night in North Philadelphia.
Fortunately, this story has a happy ending. Thanks to tips from the public, authorities identified Barnes and tracked his car to Maryland.
Federal authorities tracked him to this strip mall in Jessup, Maryland. ATF agents spotted them together inside his Ford Taurus and moved in.
3 days after her abduction off the street, Freeland Gaither was rescued by police and Barnes was arrested at the scene. Kidnapping of Carly Bruscia. This surveillance footage recorded at a car wash in Sarasota, Florida, shows a girl being approached by a man who then takes her by the arm and leads her away. Tragically, this was the last time she was seen alive.
Carly Bruscia vanished February 1st, 2004, never making it home from a sleepover at a friend's house.
The girl in question, Carly Bruscia, had been walking home on February 1st, 2004, when Joseph P. Smith, captured on camera, abducted her and ultimately ended her life. The widely televised security tape prompted calls from the public, which identified the abductor.
Shown on local and national television, the video brings hundreds of leads. Surely someone would recognize the man on the grainy tape. And they do.
Smith was already in police custody for probation violations when he confessed to the crime and led police to her body. He was subsequently convicted of first-degree murder and later passed away while awaiting execution.
The Attorney General notified State Attorney Ed Brodsky that Joseph Smith died. His office says the cause of death is unknown.
Florida student beats up teacher. A student at the Matanzas High School in Palm Coast, Florida, took matters into his own hands after his teacher confiscated his Nintendo Switch video game.
Deputies say that when the teacher's aide took away his Nintendo Switch, he literally sent her flying through the air.
As the staffer walked out onto the common area, the boy ran after her, launching her into the air and knocking her unconscious. He then proceeded to physically assault her before a group of school employees managed to subdue him.
Fortunately, other students and other faculty members, administrators came and intervened.
Surveillance of this shocking incident, which occurred on February 21st, 2023, made its way to the public and was widely circulated.
This could have been homicide. When you push people down like that, they hit their head. You never know the outcome.
Initially, the student was arraigned in juvenile court due to his age, but he was later transferred to the adult system, facing a possible 30-year sentence for aggravated battery. Abduction of Leo Norvell. On November 12, 2021, an Amber Alert was issued in the state of California after the abduction of Leo Norvell by a man named Joshua Yago. Yago had reportedly carried out a shooting in the Sacramento area, resulting in minor injuries to a man and a woman. Subsequently, he chased after the woman and forcibly snatched her child, Leo Norvell, out of her arms. The distressing incident played out in full view of a home security camera. Fortunately, a couple of hours after the Amber Alert was issued, the boy was found with the suspect unharmed. Yago was swiftly arrested by police and faced charges related to both the kidnapping and shooting.
He would be caught hours later.
An unprovoked attack on the Miami Metro. September 4th, 2020 is a date that'll probably be forever etched in the memory of Andrea Puerta.
My life changed completely.
While riding the Miami Metro, Puerta endured a horrifying attack by a man whom she had never seen before. The onslaught was random and unprovoked and left Puerta unconscious, with a concussion, broken rib, and severe bruising. Despite initially losing consciousness, Puerta summoned the strength to get off the train and call the police.
Andrea no longer uses public transportation, no longer goes out at night.
Every day I cry, but I need to be strong.
Her attacker, Joshua James King, reportedly assaulted 2 other people that same day before he was apprehended and charged with 3 counts of aggravated battery. Watching this ordeal is harrowing enough, and one can only imagine how agonizing it must have been to experience it.
I want that everybody know his face, and I want that my eyes be shiny again.
Brazen thief breaks into cars. Robert Is Here is a popular fruit stand in Homestead, Florida that attracts hundreds of tourists and locals every day.
I work really hard, and I want my family to work really hard and still have fun. My aim is to be the best farm market ever on the planet, and I'm not far from it.
Over the years, Robert Moling, the owner of the facility, has seen his fair share of great and not so great patrons. In a bid to enhance security, Moling installed surveillance cameras on the premises.
Fed up with the crime, Robert and his staff invested in a security system with cameras all over the property.
In May of 2018, these cameras recorded a man breaking into customers' cars in broad daylight and stealing their valuables. The suspect appeared to have an accomplice who drove him to and from the scene of the crime.
You can see a red Dodge Caravan making its way around the storefront. At times, a man in a gray hooded sweatshirt gets out and can be seen looking into cars and checking door handles.
Although the footage was released to the public, it remains uncertain if law enforcement managed to identify the culprits. Abduction of James Bolger. At first glance, it may look like two brothers taking a casual stroll in the mall, but this grainy footage from February 12, 1993 actually depicts a crime.
All the shopping precinct is covered by CCTV, and I think some of the iconic pictures were of Thompson and Venables holding James's hand, walking away.
The toddler is James Bulger, who was at a shopping center in Bootle, England, with his mother when he was abducted by two preteen boys. Robert Thompson and John Venables can be seen in the footage leading Bulger out of the mall, with Thompson holding his hand.
Clearly you could see James hand in hand with two other boys being led away.
Subsequently, they took him on a long walk to Walton, Liverpool, where they subjected him to horrible treatment and left him for dead. In November that year, they were found guilty of killing Bulger, becoming the youngest convicted murderers in modern British history.
I remember the judge at the end of it, he said, "You will both serve very, very many years in prison." And I was pleased with that outcome.
A toxic Florida man. For one Florida household, a series of minor neighborly disputes quickly transformed into a conflict with potentially lethal consequences. When Umar Abdullah and his family began noticing an unusual odor in their home, they installed a private security camera to help find an explanation.
Umar Abdullah says it's very difficult to talk about the last few months. He says it started with complaints from a downstairs neighbor over noise.
Video evidence revealed that their neighbor, Zooming Lee, had been administering dangerous chemicals through the doorway.
I installed a hidden camera outside because we were suspecting someone is basically tampering our place from outside. And then we caught our neighbor injecting something through our door.
The chilling footage was enough to have Lee arrested on controlled substance possession and battery charges, but it more importantly may have saved this family's life. Lee, a chemistry student at the University of South Florida, has been removed from his PhD program and awaits legal consequences.
Lee was arrested and charged with multiple counts, including possession of a controlled substance and aggravated stalking.
Regardless of the outcome, this unsettling story of DIY surveillance is one the Abdullahs are unlikely to forget. Murder of Mary Kay Wolfarth. With the disturbing case of Mary Kay Wolfarth, a routine Ohio storage unit became the setting of a grisly murder. Wolfarth's body was discovered in the facility shortly after her disappearance, and the surveillance footage helped lead authorities to the perpetrator. The camera recorded Michael Olson and a casual acquaintance of Wolfarth, apparently stalking his victim while she organized her personal depot.
Wolfarth's body discovered in a storage unit in Akron, rented by Olson.
Though her life was not taken on camera, the videotape provided evidence that helped find and prosecute Olson.
There was substantial evidence in this case that this was a premeditated murder. There is video that showed him stalking her right before the murder happened.
After a harrowing guilty plea, Olson received a life sentence with no potential for parole. When you consider the tragic outcome to such a devastating circumstance, rewatching this video evidence retrospectively feels even more horrifying. Which of these horrifying crimes left your jaw on the floor?
This new video of a pharmacy in Piedmont Avenue being ransacked.
The incidents in our next video could seemingly be from a movie, but they're real, and they're of times prisoners were caught on camera escaping.
We scared the hell out of people and caused a lot of anxiety and fear, and at the end of the day, I can't say I feel good about that.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 prison escapes caught on camera.
At about 9 p.m., prison authorities inside Altiplano lost visual contact with Mr. Guzman.
For this list, we'll be looking at the most audacious, ingenious, and outrageous jailbreaks captured on video. What real-life breakout moment captured your attention? Number 10. You left the keys in the ignition? For a prison guard, being able to count convicts is an essential skill.
It's getting away.
Oh, we did bad! When Donald Knisley arrived with his fellow inmates in the prison garage, he noticed that the officers weren't paying close attention. While the others were filing into the building, Knisley ducked behind the van. His luck was running high because nobody noticed he was missing. On top of that, the keys of the transport van were still in the ignition. The bold criminal hit the gas and drove right through the garage door, and eventually into a line of trees. The officers shortly had him safely behind locked doors. It just goes to show that just because you have the keys to the van, it doesn't mean you can actually drive it. Number 9. Houdini in handcuffs. Unless you know some nifty magic tricks, it's generally assumed that handcuffs are difficult to get out of. A Wisconsin woman didn't seem to think they were a problem. Amber Gonzalez was left alone in a holding room, reportedly to arrange for bail on a cell phone. With just a little bit of effort, she was able to wiggle out of the restraints. Then Gonzalez took keys from the door and used them to get to an emergency exit. She was later found at the same hotel from which she was arrested.
She walked through yards to a gas station where she met up with a truck driver, and the two went back to the same Waukesha hotel.
The guards claimed they put the cuffs on very tightly. Maybe they just didn't expect a small woman to have tiny hands? Number 8, perfect timing. It takes some spectacular timing to make it through a heavy door that's about to seal shut. When he arrived at the prison garage, Michael Maldonado decided it was worth the risk. He jumped from the back seat of a police car to the front and out the driver's side door. Then he ducked underneath the garage door just as it was closing. The officers had to reopen the door before they could pursue. In the footage, Maldonado can be seen sprinting across the parking lot. It took a full day for them to track him down. It goes to show that when someone's chasing you, a person can indeed be motivated to run very fast. Number 7, inside help. Most of the time when you hear about a prison break, you assume that they had a complicated plan. Let's face it though, only someone like Tom Cruise would have someone in place to just open all of the gates for him. Well, for 3 inmates in New Mexico, their escape was just that simple. The footage shows the inmates walking easily through all of the jail's doors and gates.
Come back real soon, will ya?
Don't hold your breath.
It was assumed that someone helped them make this simple escape. The footage, which shows an on-duty female officer looking extremely stressed, pointed to the culprit. She was later arrested as an accomplice in their escape. The 3 inmates were returned to jail a few days later. Now their outside help was on the inside. Number 6. Guess we should close that window?
If you see Mr. Estelle, don't take matters into your own hands. He should be considered very, very dangerous.
It can be so irritating when there's nobody manning a reception desk and all you see is an empty window. What would be frustrating for an average person was the perfect opportunity for an inmate in Arkansas. Derek Estelle was having a telephone conversation in a visitation room. One of his fellow inmates made inquiries of the guards. They left the room to figure things out. With the area left unsupervised, Estelle dove through the reception window to make his escape. His girlfriend was waiting outside in a car, and his escape was complete. They were both eventually apprehended, and Estelle had an extra 40 years added to his sentence. Maybe not such a fortunate opportunity after all. Number 5. If at first you don't succeed, escaping prison by helicopter is a fairly impressive feat. How about doing it twice? Vasilis Palakostas was known as the Greek Robin Hood because he gave money he stole to those who didn't have as much. It was quite a media sensation in 2006 when he escaped his 25-year prison sentence. 2 of his friends rented a tourist helicopter and made the pilot land in the prison yard. A year after he was returned to prison in 2008, Palakostas escaped again in almost the exact same way. This time they climbed a rope ladder to the helicopter to escape. His accomplice, Alket Rezai, was captured and is serving out his prison time. Palakostas is still free and has since been dubbed the Uncatchable. Number 4. Freedom or fame?
This is our casa right now for the moment. This is our crib.
Most prisoners would prefer there be no evidence of their escape. Not these 3 inmates from California, however. They filmed their entire breakout on a contraband cell phone. The video shows them crawling into a vent. They climb through plumbing tunnels to the rooftop. Although their method of getting to the ground wasn't filmed, they later claimed to use a rope. They kidnapped a cab driver who drove them to where they had a van set up with supplies.
We were so grateful he decided to help us. This man is truly a hero.
The 3 escapees were picked up by the police while chilling in their mobile hideout. They turned the footage into an edited video with music and voiceovers bragging about their deeds. Was having their selfie video online worth the extra time in jail? Number 3. Food goes in, prisoner goes out. When you think of a prisoner locked up alone in a prison cell, you can't help but also picture the food door. That open space in the door is narrow so that food can go in, but prisoners can't get out. Well, one particularly agile prisoner in Russia wasn't about to let that stop him. The prison footage clearly shows him squeezing his body through the tiny food hatch. He gets stuck for a moment but manages to wiggle his way out. All that's left to do was put on his clothes and calmly exit. It's an astounding feat, but it took a couple minutes. Why didn't anyone see it on camera? What were the prison guards doing?
So he just gets away with it. Is that how it works?
Number 2. Spared no expense.
Y yo que estuve adentro del penal, te puedo decir que no es un penal del cual puedas huir.
Worried that he would be extradited to the U.S., Joaquin El Chapo Guzman decided to leave his prison cell behind. His family and friends built a mile-long tunnel that connected to the shower of Guzman's cell. The prison footage shows him putting on his shoes and then disappearing behind the low shower wall. Evidence suggests that he then used a motorcycle on rails to travel to the end of the well-lit tunnel. It's hard to imagine that the construction of a well-equipped escape route would have gone unnoticed. Was it a true breakout, or was it a well-orchestrated drama to hide the involvement of the prison security? We may never know. Number 1. That was unexpected. Why plan an escape that only lets out one prisoner when you can create ultimate chaos and release many more?
Maybe one day we'll find out.
Oh, you better hope that day never comes.
Nobody knows who planned this tumultuous escape, but it was simple and effective. In 1995, a bulldozer slammed into the wall of a Danish prison.
Emotion.
A TV crew showed up just in time to film between 12 and 13 prisoners running away in a cloud of dust and debris. The police detained one of the cameramen because the timing of their arrival seemed suspicious. Only 3 of the escapees were ever caught. It's also unclear if anyone was driving the bulldozer when it slammed into the wall. It could have been a machine uprising, but more likely the driver escaped in the chaos.
It's time to take a break from human interactions, because in our next video we're going to be showcasing some fierce animal battles that, you guessed it, were caught on camera.
The snake tries to run, but once the honey badger has locked onto its target, it doesn't back down.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 craziest animal fights caught on camera.
No leopard stands a chance against a pride of lions.
For this list, we'll be looking at wild moments when nature shows its vicious side. Which of these animal takedowns had you on the edge of your seat? Number 10. Giraffes neck and neck, Africa. Giraffes aren't animals we think of when it comes to vicious fights. They usually appear calm and gentle as they graze the treetops, so the crew filming these chill creatures for Discovery's series Africa must have been startled by this level of violence. 2 giraffes were caught hitting each other with their long, flexible necks. They quickly become a tangle until one knocks the other over. Although there's a lot at stake in the desert environment, an expert on Good Morning America assured viewers that it wasn't a fight to the death. It's simply 2 males asserting their dominance. Thankfully, the loser will live to fight another day.
The smaller, probably younger male will end up losing the fight, go away, get bigger, and then he'll get his chance next season.
Number 9. Jaguar descends on a caiman, our planet. Although fresh water is a great place for the jaguar to hunt, it can't effectively pounce while swimming. Instead, it has to move on land to attack the prey attracted to the water. Unfortunately, slinking along the open shoreline makes its presence too obvious to the potential dinner in its sights.
Which will run first?
The wickedly intelligent predator eventually tries a new method and takes on a fearsome opponent.
Tackling one of these would be risky, but the jaguar is really hungry.
The jaguar gets above the caiman by balancing on a branch over the water. It leaps onto the large reptile's back. The caiman tries to roll the jaguar off, but eventually, the tenacious cat is victorious.
After 20 minutes and near to exhaustion, the jaguar wins.
Number 8. Kangaroo boxers. Life story. Watching 2 kangaroos box each other is like seeing an old cartoon come to life. Although Looney Tunes may not always be a reliable source for animal information, it turns out that kangaroos do come out of their pouches fighting. These fuzzy pugilists start young and spend their early lives sparring with other kangaroos.
Its mother is a handy opponent for a young Joey learning the basics.
Eventually, these cute creatures can transform into 8-foot-tall fighters. When the adults take to the ring, it's a fierce match.
Anything goes in these power struggles. Eye gouging is entirely within the rules. So is kicking below the belt.
Their powerful hands and feet can break bones and cause internal injuries. We'd be more likely to get out of the way than stop to see which kangaroos take the title. Number 7. Water buffalo against a lion's pride. Our planet. Despite the cute and cuddly depictions of lions in Disney films, they're some of the world's most fearsome predators.
I'm so hungry I could eat a whole zebra.
Ah, we're fresh out of zebra.
Any antelope?
Nuh-uh.
Hippo?
Nope.
This is made very clear in a fight between lions and water buffalo. Heading towards water is inherently dangerous, but the herd doesn't have much choice. They must drink daily to survive. As soon as they sense the lions, the herbivores start to run. There may be safety in numbers for the herd, but the fearsome felines have their own pride of players. The lions work together to pull one water buffalo away from the others, and they quickly take it down. Number 6. King of the Langor Monkeys. Life story. This tribe of Hanuman Langor monkeys is led by one strong male. When a rival decides he wants to take over the females, he doesn't come alone.
He leads a group of outcast bachelors into battle.
The monkey antagonist brings a group of other single bachelors with him to fight the older father. It's the Langor patriarch's job to protect his female monkeys and babies, so he has a lot to fight for.
If Scarface loses this battle, he will lose his legacy.
It's an all-out battle between the two leaders, full of mighty springs and speed. Their fangs are bared and their jumps are impressive. Ultimately, the Scar-faced leader chases off the intruders and maintains his rocky throne.
And he returns to a hero's welcome.
Number 5. A team of cheetahs take on a wildebeest. Our planet.
4 of the cheetahs start the stalk, walking directly towards the prey. The 5th creeps around the side.
It's hard to really grasp the speed of a cheetah until you see it featured on film. The true magnificence of this wildcat is further displayed in a fight with a wildebeest. At first, a single cheetah slowly sneaks up on the herd. Then it erupts into an impressive burst of speed. The feline spooks the wildebeest and they run. The cheetah easily catches up to the herbivores, but can't keep a hold of one alone.
A single cheetah is not strong enough to defend its prize.
4 more cheetahs suddenly appear from the grass. Working together, they manage to take down a lone wildebeest as the others flee. Number 4. Bald eagle battle. Our planet.
The boreal forests may be vast, but the places where the salmon spawn are known to all the predators.
When you catch sight of a bald eagle in the wild, they're often perched magnificently on a branch or soaring through the sky. A fight between two is not something you'd ever expect to see. In winter, the salmon are scarce, and this young female has to fight to keep the fish that she's caught.
This youngster is lucky, but her success is noticed immediately.
The larger male eagle swoops in with claws extended, and the fight is intense. There's a face slap, a takedown, and wicked wings and claws doing their work. It's a stunning display of strength and grace. Number 3. Leopard and lion altercation. Stories of Africa. A young leopard thinks he can hide from an older cat in the branches of a tree. Sadly, it doesn't work, and the more experienced leopard quickly jumps into the limbs to come after the upstart. It becomes a vicious battle in the branches, as they leap and claw at each other from precarious perches. However, their battle above the ground is surprisingly short-lived. As the two cats square off, their fight attracts a pride of lions.
The presence of these apex predators puts an immediate end to this territorial dispute. No leopard stands a chance against a pride of lions.
Neither one of the fighters wants to take on these mightier beasts. The older leopard quickly runs away while the younger tries his best to remain unnoticed above.
Jack, trapped in the tree, makes no sound.
Number 2. Honey badger takes on a snake. Honey badger grit. Honey badgers are tough and seemingly have no fear. They'll attack anything to get the food they need. If the badger wants some honey, it won't even flinch when the bees show their displeasure.
Now that he's had a taste of honey, he knows it's worth the pain.
Who would have guessed that it'd be just as happy with some tasty reptile? The mole snake doesn't have venom, but it can constrict and bite its prey. Despite the snake's quick moves and lightning bites, the honey badger doesn't give up.
Where another animal might run off to find easier prey, this is a honey badger. Nothing scares him.
It ignores the bites and keeps going after its snack until it's victorious.
The snake tries to run, but once the honey badger has locked onto its target, it doesn't back down.
If you think a honey badger should be worried when faced with a dangerous snake, you'd be wrong. Honey badger don't care. Number 1. Cheetah and hyena confrontation, surviving the Serengeti. When you think of a fight between a cheetah and a hyena, you might assume that the wild cat would win. However, in this fight for food, it's not the spotted speedster that ends up victorious. Hyenas are not only fast, versatile hunters, but they also have powerful jaws that can crush bone. The cheetah quickly brings down its prey.
The killing is the easier part of the process. Keeping your prized trophy is the hard part.
However, when the hyena moves in, the feline can't fight off the fierce predator alone.
She doesn't have the might to oust a hungry hyena, but she can give him a few scars for his trouble. It's imperative to keep the cubs at a distance.
The mother cheetah does her best to make a mark, but ultimately, it's the hyena that ends up with the meal.
Just when you thought things couldn't get any stranger, we've got the creepiest things ever caught on trail cameras. Prepare yourself.
You know, when I first saw it, my heart skipped a beat because I thought, is that a really good photo of a young squatch?
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the most frightening and strangest images ever caught on a trail camera that will leave you avoiding the woods at night.
It frightens people, especially children.
Number 20, the Wyoming Ghoul. In 2023, there was a strange occurrence going on in Evansville, Wyoming. Animal bodies and huge paw prints had appeared, seemingly pointing at a rogue mountain lion stalking the area. So the local police put up a trail camera to find the elusive creature and released the images on social media. But instead of the big feline, alongside various wildlife photos, the device captured a very unsettling snapshot of a ghoul menacingly confronting the camera. Resembling Batman villain the Scarecrow, the creepy series of pictures left folks unsettled with its bony fingers. But before residents of Evansville could pack up and leave, it turned out to be a joke by the police chief, Mike Thompson, who was promoting their Halloween event early. Number 19, Flying Doom. Imagine being a deer at night. You find a pile of apples to munch on and have a great time in the woods. But then you hear sticks snapping. Already startled, you glance up to see some outstretched creature with glowing eyes descending from the skies towards you. You'd be as freaked out as the poor deer who darted away from danger, leaving its free meal behind. Sadly for the deer, the creature is likely a flying squirrel, probably just hoping to share the apples. But in the darkness, the big mammal might have thought it was a bird of prey, or a demon, and we don't blame it.
The result is these incredibly long leaps at speeds of up to 20 miles an hour.
Number 18, Photobombing Witch. Coyotes can be a problem. Stay tuned for more on them later. As such, some folks put up cameras to see if an area houses any of them. But in 2012, one concerned citizen discovered something more unsettling than the carnivores. At the side of the image, a hooded creature with a white face and dark hair stares at the camera and into our souls. Seemingly, a witch with only half its body visible had been photographed. Could this be proof of the occult presence in the forest under the cover of darkness? Or is it a simple Photoshop job to mess with us? Let us know your thoughts below. Number 17, Howling at the Moon. It's depicted in countless movies and media, but it's even eerier hearing the actual thing. This trail cam spied on a group of coyotes howling at each other in the moonlight, though not actually at the moon, as it turns out that concept is a myth. There are several reasons why pack animals howl, such as hunting or navigational purposes, but that doesn't make them sound any less unsettling. These particular cries begin with a single pooch that sets off a disquieting chain reaction. The calls morph into deafening screams that could shake your spinal cord if you can stand to listen. It's even creepier when the yelping stops and the unnerving silence returns. Don't play this loudly around your pets, or they might join in too. Number 16. Woodwalker. The U.S. state of Michigan already has a load of urban legends to scare and entice tourists and local residents. After all, there's the mysterious Dogman, the human-wolf hybrid creature, the hobgoblin Nain Rouge, and the haunted Hell's Bridge. But now we can add this creepy ghost man to the list. According to articles online, someone set up their camera to be motion-activated. Yet when this chap appeared, only one image was taken. Seemingly, he appeared, then vanished like a specter or some kind of supernatural recluse. It even looks like he was simply standing in place, making the situation scarier somehow. Yikes. Number 15. The Cloaked Creature. In 2012, this unsettling image appeared online. Supposedly taken in the state of Wisconsin, the photo seems to depict a cloaked creature walking off into the darkness, probably to cause some mayhem or shenanigans. People have speculated that it might be a zombie, one of the cryptids, a ghost, or some other supernatural being. It also looks like it could be Gore the God Butcher staggering off to find Thor. But there are more natural theories. One person theorized it could simply be the back half of an elk, as the rest is hidden by shadow. Others believe it could be bird poop on the camera's lens, or a human playing a joke. Number 14. Child of the Corn. Children are one of the creepiest entities around, with their never-ending energy and sticky fingers. Just making eye contact with one is enough to send shivers down your spine. So imagine how the owner of this camera felt when they looked at the pictures taken during the night on their trail camera in 2009 and found a boy staring at the lens with glowing eyes. Eerie. Is this proof that the children of the corn are real, or that the urban legend of the black-eyed children exists? Yet perhaps it's just a kid that went sleepwalking and then woke up in his next-door forest. Hopefully, it's the latter. Number 13. Forest Girl. In 2017, the residents of Cambridge, New York were in for a scare when an image taken from the local woods' trail cam circulated. It showed a blurry black and white photo of a young girl walking through the streets, seemingly imitating Salt Bae, which somehow makes it even more disturbing. Locals were so concerned that they immediately speculated that this was a ghost.
I think it's a ghost.
Why do you say that?
Because look at her. It's definitely a spirit.
But before they could strap on their proton pack and sprint into the woods, the truth of the image came out. A local man called the police and informed them that it was his granddaughter in the picture. The two had gone for a stroll through the forest. No specter shenanigans here. Unless that's what the ghostly girl wants us to think.
I'm just a 9-year-old girl who's not a ghost.
Number 12. The Tall Being. Do you ever get that feeling that you're being watched, but when you look up and no one's there, you feel a little silly? Well, that might be because you didn't have a trail camera with night vision to look for ghouls in the darkness. This camera discovered a tall woman in a long nightgown watching behind a bunch of branches. Was she a lost human lady looking to return home after a nighttime wander, or was something more supernatural going on? It's difficult to know for sure. Even Snopes had trouble finding the truth here, but they believe it might be connected to another infamous incident that you'll see later. Number 11. Coyotes and deer. Real-life nature can be beautiful, sure, but it can also be brutal and terrifying. In 2011, believed to be in the state of Montana, locals set up cameras to keep an eye on the coyote population. On top of seeing the furry friends, the cam also saw the destruction of a deer. A buck was ganged up on by 2 coyotes, one appearing to have glowing eyes thanks to camera trickery, making it seem more demonic. In a series of images that were taken, the buck is unfortunately ended by the attack. Number 10. Deer-chasing demon. While it's widely known that deer spook easily, we really can't blame this one for running for its life. This trail camera still image captures the moment an unexplained creature is giving this poor deer the chase of its life. While most who see this image believe it's a hoax or a really strange angle of a natural predator, such as a cougar, others believe this could be proof of the elusive yet infamous Jersey Devil.
The Jersey Devil, or the Leeds Devil as it is sometimes called, is a cryptid animal. It's mostly described as a flying bipedal creature, meaning that it stands upright.
No matter what it is, we are definitely on the same page as this deer. We do not want to run into this creature in the middle of the night. Number 9. Grim Reaper. Doesn't matter what Blue Oyster Cult said, we are still going to fear this one. While the Grim Reaper is usually seen as a bad omen, maybe this particular one was just trying to help a forest creature pass over to the other side. Considering the date stamp, it is possible that this was simply one of those people who celebrate Halloween for the entire month of October. Then again, even the most dedicated Halloween lover has to draw the line at being out in the middle of the night in freezing temperatures. Whatever the case, seeing this on your trail camera is pretty terrifying no matter the time of year. Number 8. Ghostly Hunter. Sure, venison is delicious, but can ghosts even eat it? Maybe this particular Pennsylvania hunter is trying to find out. There are two creepy aspects of this photo. Of course, the ghostly hunter is spooky, but this could simply be a case of the camera distorting either a human subject or a water reflection. After all, trail cameras aren't exactly the best quality, and this photo was taken at night. The truly creepy and worrisome part of this picture is how the buck staring into the camera doesn't even seem to know it might be being watched from behind. The most likely explanation to this mysterious visitor is, of course, that it's a hoax. So maybe the deer's oblivious nature isn't so bad. Number 7. Nightgown Wanderer. Even the frights are bigger in Texas. This grainy image appears to capture a nighttime wanderer on the trail. A similar but clearer image that might show the same figure was posted on a hunting forum in 2015, taken near a cemetery in Liberty, Texas. Now, it could simply be a person out and about for a stroll in their nightgown, or someone chasing after their dog. However, the proximity to a graveyard and the fact that it was 2 miles from any houses is a bit spooky, as is the fact that bare footprints were allegedly found in the spot. Number 6. Daytime Sasquatch. Maybe you've heard that Virginia is for lovers, but have you heard that Virginia is for baby Bigfoot too? When outdoorsman Roger Williams captured this photo in 2013 in the mountains of southwest Virginia, he submitted the strange image to a local newspaper. In no time, the picture circulated around cryptozoologist circles and quickly drew similarities to the famous Jacobs photo taken in 2007 in northwest Pennsylvania. Williams also disclosed to the Finding Bigfoot team that one of his neighbors heard strange sounds a few miles from where the photo was taken.
And about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, he heard a yowl. Raspy, throaty growl sound from the upper part of the lake, and said he wouldn't have thought much about it except it was repeated.
As Williams himself said when he first published the photo, quote, "The mystery remains." Number 5. Zombies. Virginia seems to be a hotspot for bizarre trail camera photos. This image first started circulating around October 2012, and it just gets creepier the longer you look at it. At first, it looks like 2 out-of-sorts figures wandering the woods late at night. However, a closer look reveals that the figure in the front is missing some flesh, exposing its rib cage. While it could be an indication that the dead roam Virginia, it's more likely to be a hoax or another case of October-long Halloween enthusiasts. No matter the case, the image is unsettling. Number 4. Living Deliciously. This creepy creature took being the goat too seriously. In the small town of Bowie, Maryland, legends and rumors about the mysterious Goat Man have circulated for decades. According to the stories, a scientist at Beltsville Research Agricultural Center conducted experiments combining goat DNA and human DNA. Of course, something went horribly wrong, resulting in the creation of the Goat Man.
Soon this creature was seen attacking cars with an axe along the Fletchertown Road in Bowie. It's said to be 6 feet tall, hairy, and walking upright on its hind leg.
This particular image has been tied to the legend, but it should actually be tied to a Photoshop contest. An artist who goes by Lou, aka Vierhacht, submitted the photo as part of a contest in 2011. While they did not win the contest, their art has lived on in countless Proof of Cryptids Exist compilations. In fact, Vierhacht has called it their most stolen image. Number 3. Runaway. These deer seem to be more freaked out by the camera than by the little girl who is right next to them. Could this child be part of their herd, or a Disney princess in the making?
She is a princess!
As it turns out, there's much more to this photo than meets the eye. For starters, there are actually several more pictures of this magical girl and her deer friends. That's because this image is part of a series called Following the Deer by Illinois artist William Harper. The image was taken out of context and widely circulated around the internet, leading several concerned citizens to wonder why this little girl was wandering in the woods. Thankfully, the girl was never really lost, but this picture is still very spooky. Number 2. The Rake. Accounts of an American cryptid known as the Rake date back to the 1600s, when a mariner apparently fled back across the ocean to escape the creature. Well, if this photo is anything like what he saw, we can't blame him. This particular image was allegedly recovered from a trail camera in a destroyed hunting camp. While this could be true and the creature could be responsible for the destruction, the picture's murky origins leave room for doubt. Is this the rake of lore, or is it simply a spooky edit? No matter the case, this image is probably the most relatable one on this list. After all, who wants their picture taken unexpectedly at 1:44 a.m.?
Why did you do that? Why would you do that to me when you know how I feel about that? Why?
We empathize with your frustration, mysterious creature. Number 1, creepy clown. Back in 2016, there was a massive wave of creepy clown sightings that spooked people in several cities.
Online, there are lots of posts about the pranks.
However, it looks like someone was about 7 years early to the circus-themed party. These images were captured on a trail camera in the middle of the woods. While this matches the latter clown's MO, this particular sighting occurred several miles from the nearest town. This could simply be a case of someone wanting to mess with the person who put out this camera, but it is extremely creepy no matter the motive. The bizarre eye contact definitely doesn't help either. What's the strangest thing you've ever seen caught on camera?
We're going to keep the creep factor going for our last video today. That's because it's all about the creepiest things that ever happened on live TV.
When an elaborate hoax news story said Flanders had declared independence, thousands believed it.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 more creepiest things caught on live TV.
I want to be in the war and save the country.
When we showed the clip, everyone had a theory.
For this list, we'll be looking at the most disturbing and spine-chilling moments that were captured live and left viewers deeply disturbed. What's the creepiest thing you've ever witnessed live? Number 20, Rubsy's Paranormal Livestream. This eerie encounter looks like something straight out of a horror movie. YouTuber Rubsy was reportedly pet-sitting at a friend's house when his livestream audience noticed something strange. At first, it appeared that the door behind him was opening unaided. Sure, that could be attributed to a faulty hinge, but when it suddenly slammed shut all by itself, it became apparent that something spooky was going on. From there, things devolved into a horror fest. Lights going on and off, objects moving about seemingly on their own. There's enough happening to make just about anyone lose their mind. But surprisingly, Rubsy maintains his composure throughout the ordeal, adding an even more unsettling layer to the unfolding situation.
I don't know what to do.
Like I said, I don't think you should go fucking do.
Number 19, 2002 Falun Gong hijackings. The spiritual movement Falun Gong gained notoriety in China after they were branded a heretical organization by the government in 1999.
By the end of the 1990s, he had tens of millions of followers in China. The communist leadership saw that as a threat to its own grip on power and banned the movement.
After years of physical protests and arrests, the group took their descent to the airwaves. In 2002, they hijacked state TV broadcasts, airing a film accusing the Chinese Communist Party of oppression. The film also claimed that the government staged certain events to give the group a bad image. Such anti-government messages are far from the norm in China, so they understandably left a lot of viewers stunned.
他们摆脱了李洪志的精神控制之后，精神面貌焕然一新，以积极的态度来对待生活。
The duration of these interruptions varies depending on who you ask, but they occurred multiple times throughout 2002, even once cutting off the FIFA World Cup finals. Number 18, a nearly fatal collision. News reporting can be a dangerous job, though seldom is it so unexpected as this case. KTVU correspondent Alex Savage was covering an unrelated incident alongside a San Francisco highway when an out-of-control automobile nearly smashed into him.
Went off the tracks, and obviously it was a chaotic and confusing situation.
As he leapt out of the way, the disoriented camera tilted and eerily settled on one of the tire's loose hubcaps. If that image of the crash's aftermath wasn't chilling enough, Savage's later reflections on the moment might be.
Scary.
It's scary. Okay. It's all right, Alex. It's okay. You collect your thoughts. We're just thankful to see you and Chip. Glad you're okay.
He commented that his choice to go right instead of left was split second. The footage is a hair-raising reminder that the forces threatening our mortality are often only moments away. Just listen to Savage's shaking voice just moments afterward and you might be robbed of peaceful sleep. Number 17, Wendy Williams passes out. This moment might hug the line between scary and creepy, but it's disturbing in either case. During what was supposed to be a fun Halloween-themed intro, veteran TV personality Wendy Williams suddenly lost control of her motor functions. She stumbled backwards in wide-eyed horror, inexplicably dropping to the floor.
Get started. Our first caress.
Williams later explained that dehydration and a sudden rise in body temperature caused the incident, and she was able to recover before the broadcast was even over.
That was not a stunt. I'm overheated in my costume and I did pass out. But you know what? I'm a champ and I'm back.
Though the incident was ultimately minor, the host definitely didn't know that at the time, and we can see that frightened uncertainty in her expression. And if you watch the clip without context, she almost looks possessed. Initial creepiness aside, we agree with Wendy's self-assessment of herself as a champ.
Kevin said, you know, baby, I know you can do it. Go back out there and show them what you're made of. Close out the show. I said, I know, right?
Number 16, ventriloquist Senate candidate. In 2012, Republican hopeful Barry Hinckley challenged Democratic incumbent Sheldon Whitehouse for the Rhode Island Senate seat. During his campaign, Hinckley released an adorable ad featuring his young son Hudson that grabbed everyone's attention. However, when they both appeared for a follow-up interview on Fox News, many were unsettled by what they saw. When host Neil Cavuto questions Hudson about the ad, Hinckley strangely mouths the exact words the boy says.
What do your friends saying when they see you on TV?
I don't know right now.
Did you notice the dad's lips moving? Sort of like a bad ventriloquist?
If we didn't know any better, we'd think the Senate candidate and his son were just a bad ventriloquist act looking for some airtime. The interview unsurprisingly left a bad taste in people's mouths, which may have contributed to Hinckley's eventual loss at the polls.
Why were you mouthing the words that he said?
Well, I'm not sure. Obviously we were both a bit nervous because it was the first time we did national TV.
Number 15, mysteriously moving glass of water. The Primera Edición breakfast show in Honduras had their own fair share of a spooky occurrence during a live taping in 2015. While presenting the morning news, host Carlos Molina notices his glass of water move on its own. He's taken aback, naturally, and calls the attention of his co-host Pablo Zapata to it. Molina described feeling a chilling sensation just seconds before observing the self-sliding glass, attributing it to a paranormal experience. Viewers were a bit more skeptical, however, speculating that it was likely a prank on the hosts by their co-workers. This notion has since been dismissed by Molina, who countered that when he tried to move the glass afterwards, it remained stuck to the table. Number 14, blue light in New York City. Aliens, UFOs, the apocalypse. Those were some of the thoughts on the minds of New Yorkers when a bright blue light engulfed the sky in December 2018. Many who were indoors witnessed the eerie lights being broadcast on the news, as they pretty much turned nighttime to day.
Overnight, the New York City sky lit up in a supernatural shade of blue.
Oh my God.
What is that? That looks gnarly.
Look at the sky. Well, that doesn't look good.
Sparking alarms citywide.
To further complicate matters, some residents saw the lights in their homes flicker and the LaGuardia airport experienced a total blackout. Fortunately, this one wasn't the work of any extraterrestrial force. Instead, the blue light was caused by an explosion at a power plant in Queens, which would explain the outages residents experienced.
The explosion and fire knocking out power in the area and wreaking havoc at LaGuardia Airport.
Guess the aliens decided to take a rain check on their invasion plans. Number 13, UFO flashes intense bright light. In February 2020, a crowd of over 200 people gathered for a UFO sighting at Yaya Beach in Peru, which has been described as a hotspot for the strange objects. The event was covered by Capital TV and broadcast live to thousands of viewers. At one point, some people in the audience noticed an unexplained light hovering above the sea. They pointed their laser pens at the mysterious object, only to be hit by an intense bright light in response. As the program was filmed late in the night, it's not quite clear what the light source could be. A boat, a drone, a UFO? We'll leave that for you to decide. Number 12, Spanish reporter with reptilian eyes. This unsettling footage was captured by a viewer who was watching the Spanish news channel Televisión Español Internacional. Towards the end of the piece, the reporter blinks repeatedly, and for a brief moment, a second set of eyeballs appears over his closed eyelids.
I'm looking at this reporter, and I noticed something about his eyes at the very last minute.
According to the viewer, this was possible proof of the reporter being an anthropomorphic reptile camouflaging among humans. The actual explanation, however, may be a lot less fantastic. Some internet users speculated that the reporter may have been wearing contact lenses, which made him blink often.
There it is, the blink. I'm gonna do it in slow-mo now. There we go.
That, combined with a camera compression glitch, likely resulted in the reptilian effect. Either way, the appearance is sure to give anyone watching the creeps. Number 11. Paranormal newspapers. These days it seems poltergeists and breakfast shows go hand in hand. Yet another alleged poltergeist disturbance occurred on the Morning Club show at Club FM in Tirana, Albania. At first everything seems normal until suddenly it isn't. The host, Blendi Saleh, appears to be interviewing a guest on the program when a newspaper on the table in front of them abruptly flies off camera. What makes this particularly disturbing is that the two are the only ones sitting in the booth and there aren't any doors open or windows in sight.
Wow.
So what exactly could have thrown the newspaper in the air? Understandably, Saleh and his guest are dumbfounded.
Wow. Wow.
Phantasm? And frankly, so are we. Number 10. TV solidarity. In September 1985, Polish audiences who tuned into the popular crime show, 07 Goście, were met with strange inscriptions superimposed over the broadcast. The message read, "Enough price increases, lies, and repressions. Solidarity Torun," and "It is our duty to boycott the election." It was later revealed that this intrusion was carried out by 4 astronomers from the University of Torun in Poland. This was done as a show of support for the Solidarity opposition movement, which had called for a boycott of the 1985 parliamentary elections in protest of the communist regime.
This fight with the communist monster was really impossible. We could only fight against it by using its own weapons, because it pretended to be the people's system.
The men were eventually apprehended, but due to their significant contributions to the Polish scientific community, they were only fined and given probation. Number 9. UFO descends on London football match. In February 2019, the 8th edition of the FA Women's League Cup was underway. The second semi-finals match saw Arsenal go up against Manchester United, with the former winning by 2-1. But it seems humans weren't the only ones interested in the league. During the aforementioned match, one eagle-eyed fan spotted a mysterious object hovering above the stadium.
Where Melbourne Victory face Perth Glory, that's at 2:45 a.m. on ESPN. And Brisbane Roar are up against Sydney.
Upon closer inspection, the viewer noticed a strange red object emitting the light. Like many other sightings, it's hard to tell if this was some form of spacecraft or just a drone.
That's at 2:45 a.m. on ESPN. And Brisbane Roar are up against Sydney live.
If it was indeed a bunch of aliens watching, we can only hope they at least enjoyed the game. Number 8. The ghostly groundsman. In September 2016, football fans who tuned into Sky Sports for Sunderland's match against Everton were in for a spooky surprise.
Here's Lukaku on for his hat-trick to finish it. And he does.
While the pundits discussed the game afterwards, observant viewers picked up an enigmatic figure on a screen in the background, which then mysteriously vanished. The individual appeared to be a groundsman tidying up the stadium after the game.
Is the fact that last season they were a bit of an unknown quantity. Nobody really set up to play to nullify the strengths. This season, I think teams are ready for them, and I think they're going to have to come up with a different way of playing, because teams aren't now going pressing and leaving the space in behind. There's no space now for Jamie Vardy or for Mahrez. People are doubling up on him, and they're going to have to find another way to try and win games.
Moments later, a similar phenomenon occurred with another figure. Fans who spotted the ghost groundsman took to social media to voice out their perplexity. This could have been 2 phantoms caught on camera, or just stock footage of the stadium being played on a loop. If only we knew which. Number 7. Flemish secession hoax. In 2006, the Belgian TV station RTBF orchestrated a hoax that caused quite the stir in the French-speaking parts of the country. On December 16th, they interrupted a broadcast on one of their channels with an urgent announcement that the Flemish Parliament had declared independence from Belgium. The piece appeared genuine, including interviews with politicians and a fake evacuation of the Belgian royal family from their palace. To top it all off, they showed footage of crowds cheering and waving the Flanders flag. The result, more than 2,000 worried people flooded the station's hotline with calls, and their website eventually crashed. 30 minutes later, RTBF admitted that the report was a hoax. Number 6. Mystery voice interrupts Queen Elizabeth's funeral. The 2022 state funeral of Queen Elizabeth II was one of the most watched TV broadcasts in British history, with over 26 million residents tuning in to catch the event.
Some of London's busiest routes closed, lined with people, throwing flowers, cheering, taking photos. And then through more blocked-off roads until the hearse, now peppered with flowers, was joined by an escort of guards for the long walk to the castle.
Those who watched the funeral on ITV may have picked up a mysterious voice as the Queen's hearse made its way to West London. For a few seconds, a female voice can be heard whispering about death and being trapped.
Death is irreversible, and the fact that she's trapped.
As you can see. Soon after, social media erupted with speculation about where the sound could have come from. One notable theory surmised that it was possibly the voice of the late Princess Diana. However, according to certain sources, it was simply that of a guest being picked up by the presenter's microphone. Number 5. The Playboy Channel Religious Message. The last place you may expect to find the gospel is on the Playboy Channel. So we can imagine how stunned Playboy audiences were on Sunday, September 6, 1987, when a broadcast of the adult film 3 Daughters was interrupted by religious texts.
Listen, I'm a little flabbergasted about this whole thing. Are we having a big wedding, or what are the plans?
Well, we just, want to have a short, sweet, quick wedding because we have to get to London, right?
And we have 2 weeks.
Yeah, and we're gonna be living in her apartment for a little while.
Tiny. Apartment.
We're gonna make the best of it, but we're gonna be looking for a bigger
cozy.
The message came from the Bible verses Exodus 28 and Matthew 4:17, which warned them to repent and keep the Sabbath day holy. Safe to say that someone wasn't pleased with all of the unholy viewing going on.
I know that she wants.
A federal investigation later revealed that someone was Thomas Haney, a technician at the Christian Broadcasting Network. Haney was found guilty of satellite piracy and sentenced to 3 years probation. Number 4. The Great Tantra Challenge. In March of 2008, audiences in India bore witness to a bizarre showdown. Author and self-proclaimed rationalist Sainal Idamaruku dared the tantric guru, Surinder Sharma, to kill him live on television. Sharma had bragged during a prior panel that he could take a person's life within 3 minutes using his mystic powers. Idamaruku then decided to put him to the test, volunteering himself as tribute. For several hours, Sharma seemingly invoked supernatural forces to take Idamaruku's life to no avail. At one point, the tantric claimed that his subjects served a more powerful god, to which Idamaruku reported that he was an atheist. The challenge was reportedly watched by hundreds of millions of viewers, all of whom witnessed Sharma's epic fail. Number 3. Captain Midnight. For 4.5 minutes on April 27, 1986, HBO experienced a signal intrusion that was caught by viewers along the East Coast. While showing the 1985 film The Falcon and the Snowman, the feed abruptly cut to a blank screen with a strange text across it. The message appeared to have been sent by an individual named Captain Midnight, who didn't seem too pleased with HBO's subscription fees.
An objection to the price HBO is charging dish owners for access to its recently scrambled programs. The signal got weaker, then, after 4 minutes, the movie resumed. Spokesmen at the HBO Broadcast Center in Long Island are not saying how they got control of their signal back from the intruder, who may never be caught. Someone with access to a large satellite transmission dish, probably in or near the contiguous United States, but untraceable in so large an area, had simply aimed at the appropriate satellite and, using HBO's published frequency, transmitted with more power than HBO, which overrode and replaced the HBO signal.
The incident was investigated by the FCC and FBI, resulting in the arrest of John R. McDougal. McDougal owned a satellite dish which was struggling due to the cable channel's high rates. His protest earned him a little infamy as well as a $5,000 fine.
McDougal confessed to the FCC TV cops. And although the agency says his action, if it disrupted military or telephone communications, could be a very serious business, in this case he'll get off with a $5,000 fine. Robert Hager, NBC News, Washington.
Number 2. Samuel J. Seymour's Secret. The CBS game show I've Got a Secret featured a panel of celebrities trying to guess a contestant's secret. Most of these were funny or embarrassing, but on February 9, 1956, 95-year-old Samuel J. Seymour strolled onto the set with a chilling account.
Would this person have ever been president of the United States?
Was he ever president, this man?
Oh, I think he was once. Would it have been Abraham Lincoln?
It was Abraham Lincoln, yes.
You witnessed something to do with Abraham Lincoln. Was this a pleasant thing?
Was it a pleasant thing you saw, sir?
Not very pleasant, I don't think. I was scared to death.
After being questioned by the celebrity panel, Seymour revealed that he was reportedly the last surviving witness of Abraham Lincoln's assassination. Seymour claimed that at the age of 5, he sat across from the presidential box at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C., when John Wilkes Booth fired the fatal shot.
When he saw Booth jump from the box to the stage, at which time he broke his leg, his only concern was not for the president, because he didn't realize that the president had been shot, but the poor man who fell out of the balcony. And that's all of his memory is of going to the theater and seeing a man fall out of the balcony. Sir, it's been a great joy and you might say an honor to have you are, by the way, the only living witness of that tragic event.
His haunting recollection of the event brought history to life and must have sent shivers down the spines of all who listened. Number 1. Dutch TV presenters eat each other. Yeah, you heard that right. In December 2011, Dennis Storm and Valerio Zeno, 2 presenters on the Dutch show Guinea Pigs, took a bite into the bizarre but seemingly devouring pieces of each other's flesh live on air.
No jokes about fava beans and a nice Chianti here. Unlike the fictional movie character Hannibal Lecter, these 2 men really are cannibals. Or trying, at least. 2 friends, both presenters appearing on Dutch television, both eating each other's flesh.
It was undoubtedly an unsettling sight, as Storm and Zeno underwent surgical procedures to remove small chunks of flesh from their buttocks and abdomen, respectively. These were then cooked by a chef in front of a live audience and presented to them. The brazen stunt certainly left a bad taste in many viewers' mouths.
I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti. You fly back to school now, little Starling. Fly.
Nevertheless, it didn't cross the legal line, as cannibalism is permitted in the Netherlands, provided that it is not done with malicious intent.
That's going to do it for this special look at all the many things caught on camera. Thanks for watching. I've been Matt from Watch Mojo, and I'll see you next time.